For many people in the United States, or well, North America in general, Antifa might be something new, but it's been around for quite a while, though most of its activities have been in Western Europe and in Latin America. To really get a handle on what Antifa is all about, we have to go back to the very beginning, and that takes us back to the early 1930s in Germany. Now, this is when the Nazis were consolidating their power, and it was a period of time when there was an extreme amount of political violence. And this was between lots of different groups, militant groups that were associated with different political parties. Now, there seems to be something of a misapprehension going around amongst quite a few people that the Nazis just sort of kept growing in power until they just finally took over and they were largely unopposed. And this is not exactly accurate, though. Well, actually, it's a bit of a tangent, so I'll probably make a video on that and post a link. If you're interested, you should subscribe so you know when it comes out. Anyway, the German government banned the paramilitary wing of the Communist Party, known as the Reds. And in order to keep their militant activities going in a more politically acceptable fashion, the Communists created the Anti-Fascist Action in 1932. Not that it did much good, because less than a year later, the Nazis came to power and then went about stamping out any form of dissent. After World War II, anti-fascism action basically fizzled out, although there are some small activities throughout Western Europe, most importantly in the United Kingdom and Sweden. Anti-fascism action had a revival in the late 80s and early 90s in Germany, and it was during this time that what we know as Antifa today sort of coalesced from a wide range of hard or fringe left groups. They reclaimed the iconography of the prior anti-fascist action, but they didn't have a direct affiliation with any particular political party. Rather, it was an eclectic group of anarcho-communists, syndicalists, libertarian Marxists, autonomists, and others, mostly from the squatter scene. However, there was a bit of a crossover in membership with hard left political parties. Now, when they say that they're against fascism, what they call fascism isn't necessarily what you and I or the dictionary or historians might call fascism. Broadly speaking, Antifa equates capitalism and fascism, and they are largely against globalism, corporations, and what they see as agents of fascist oppression, such as the police and the judicial system. Antifa doesn't have any kind of formal organization. It's basically different self-proclaimed groups that sometimes coordinate action. But generally, they have a consensus that we live under a repressive system, and that fascism is either just one step away or has already started, and that fascists have already initiated violence against the oppressed. And that's why it's not only okay, but it's a moral imperative to fight against the system with violence. And some see violence as a way of gaining attention for their cause. That's why, while they will do things like hand out pamphlets or spray paint walls with messages, they are most known for rioting, destroying shops, burning cars, throwing Molotov cocktails, using bombs, and otherwise creating general mayhem. Because of the violence associated with their activities, they're often considered criminal or terrorist organizations by different law enforcement agencies around the world, including in Germany. This has led Antifa to develop tactics to avoid the police, such as their horizontal decentralized structure and their notorious Black Bloc tactic. Now, understanding what Black Bloc is helpful to distinguish Antifa from other forms of protesters or people who show up at a rally. A Black Bloc is where the members will all dress up very similarly, usually in black, hence the name. Black shoes, black pants, black backpack, black shirt. Usually it's a black hoodie and a black bandana. The idea is to reduce or to become as anonymous as possible and to blend in as easily with other groups. That allows individuals, members of the Black Bloc, to go out and do something that would be criminal, such as break some windows or throw rocks at the police, and then go back into the group and get lost because the different members are so similar. And that makes it a lot harder for police to apprehend the individual who did whatever it is that they're looking for. Antifa claims to fight oppression, whether that's racism, sexism, or classism, and while they use neo-Nazi rallies as a lightning rod for their cause, what they actually do is come out in mass to protest a wide variety of things. Some of those things that they protest include global or international activities, such as the G7, the G20, NATO, the IMF and World Bank, or the ECB, or other international organizations. Being anti-capitalist, they typically attack banks and other symbols of wealth, such as limousines. A favorite target is McDonald's, though they will also attack other fast food restaurants if a McDonald's is not available or convenient. The police are not only caught up in this, but they're often the most frequent targets of Antifa. Antifa really doesn't like the police. They hate cops. They absolutely loathe the police. Bottom line, the difference between Antifa and the rest of us who don't like Nazis is that they see society as too passive or pacifist, and this is, in a sense, collaborating with the Nazi or fascist elements within society, and they believe the only way to combat Nazis is through violence, and they are willing to accept a certain amount of collateral damage in the form of the rest of society in achieving their goal of stamping out fascism, or what they call fascism. And while we're on the subject,
what about the alt-left?
There is really no such thing as an alt-left. Though some people have used the term to refer to certain fringe elements of the left, the term really hasn't caught on. But because the President of the United States used it, of course now it's a thing, though the best source I can get for where he gets the term from is from Sean Hannity. No one identifies themselves as alt-left. Antifa, on the other hand, is actually a thing. So hopefully that answered your more pressing questions about Antifa. Mind you, this is a very condensed summary of the subject, so I've posted sources and links to further stuff down there in the description. If you want to comment something that's important that didn't make it into the video, please post it down in the comments, and if there's something really useful, I'll pin it to the top, so check that out. And if you haven't subscribed at this point, I don't know what you're waiting for, clicky. So hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.